Inspired by sound.
Welcome to Fracture Sound's Blueprint Electric Keys, a free library from Fracture Sounds, and I like it. Yeah. Let's talk about Fracture Sound's Blueprint Electric Keys, shall we? This is the first in a series of free libraries from this wonderful company, Fracture Sounds, the people that bought you Hemisphere Guitars, Spotlight Piano, and Box Factory and Tom Factory too, among other things. So this is a very interesting library because the first time I started playing it, I was like, okay, I can hear this. This is good. And I would hold a chord and I would hear stuff in the background. Listen carefully. And I was like, what's going on? There's stuff happening. And then I looked at the pages and the knobs on the keyboard and I worked out that they've done what they usually do. A nice signature atmospheric layer. It's very cool. So let's start, because I come at this from the NKS aspect of things. What's on page 1 and all the different knobs on page 1. There's 2 pages of parameters. You could do a lot with 2 pages. And there's one sound in this free library. It's about 2 gig installed. Requires Kontakt 7. And you install it via native access. So the first thing we come to is a signal switch, which is currently set to DI. If I change it to amp, it's a further away sound. It's more airy, gives a lot of room. I like it. And if I show you the lower octave, rich, isn't it? Right, let's turn it back to the DI and we'll do the same low octave. It's really nice. The second thing we come to is key presses, which is by default at 75%. So that's how loud the sound of the instrument is in the room. So what I'm going to do is turn my mic down so that you don't hear my keyboard at all and play with this control. Now it's at 100%. So when you play, particularly top end, I know Rhodes. I used to have a Rhodes, a Suitcase Mark 1 when I was little, little being 2006. The top end of these can be really clunky. So with key press at 100%, all right. Then there's the key release, which is also at 75%. And again, I'll turn the mic down and play with that. But first, I'll make sure I turn the key all the way down as well. So there we go. Sorry, key press all the way down, and then I'll play with key release. So as you hear, you can actually hear the key release of the Rhodes of the instrument. It's really nice. Very, very nice, particularly for a free instrument as well. You don't get a lot of that in the free instruments. I have paid instruments that do that, but very rarely do you find it there. So between having both of the keys, press and key release on, you can have a nice... Yeah. Right. Then we have this atmosphere layer, which I will turn all the way down. Now you don't hear it when I play chords. And then, while I've got that chord held, I'll turn it up to 100. This is gorgeous, this right here. Oh. By the way, Fracture Sounds cheated a bit, and I actually like what they've done. You can actually go down to low C instead of low E. So even though it's a 73, you can go down to here. And sometimes you just want those extra notes on a Rhodes, and I always thought that 73s are a weird number anyway, so I'm going to cheat. I'm going to use those low chords, low keys, even if it is a bit incorrect. For that kind of reason. Oh. I've just changed the signal switch from DI back to amp. So as always, Fracture Sounds really nail it with things like this. Absolutely love the atmosphere layer, which is also made from the Rhodes. Then we have a sample start key of the response, which is currently 0 milliseconds. And if you take it downwards, you'll hear more of the precursor to the key being hit, all the way down to 45 milliseconds. So you get a minus. So when you hit a key, it takes a long time for it to respond. So, okay. Yeah, the key release and key press are at 100%. You can kind of get a sense maybe that it's laggy, but in a good way. You can then dial your DAW back to compensate for that delay. Really cool. Okay. I'll set that back to 0, just to make it a little easier to play. Oh, I broke that. I set the wrong thing because I'm stupid. All right, there we go. Then we have this dynamic slider, which is by default, I think it was at 66%. I can always reset this back to defaults anyway if I need to. So with the dynamic, if I turn it down, you'll see what happens. See, even low sounds, low velocities, are still quite loud. And if you turn it all the way to 100, oh, nearly 100. Now it's very, very hard to get those soft sounds to sound. Working really hard at that. And I'll tell you what I'll do. Here, you can actually hear now the keys going. If I play as soft as I can, you can hear the key press and key release. That's really hard to do, but it's actually cool. Lovely instrument, really well maintained. Like when you hear that in the room, the fact that the key releases don't clunk or anything, that's beautiful. Just beautiful. I'm a really big fan of this library. Right, 60. I'll set it back to 66%. Okay, then we have stereo, which is 50%, which is how wide the spread is of the instrument. So when you turn it up to 100, for example, that's the left speaker. And that's your right speaker, and there's your channel check for the day. So if the low sounds are coming from the left side, and if the high sounds are coming from the right side, your headphones or speakers are calibrated correctly. If not, please swap them, or face the other way. That'll do. I'll put it back. Actually, I'll show you mono as well. Mono is... What I'll do is turn down the key press and key release so you can hear it completely, and my mic for a little bit. So here's a completely mono sound. And now I'll do the kind of obnoxious thing of turning it up all the way to 100 and playing similarly, which is quite annoying. And then it's back to mono. Right, let's find 50% and move on to the next control, which is a lovely chorus. It's currently at 0. Let's turn it up. %. And we'll switch back from amp to DI so that we have a chorus that's close mic'd. Nice chorus. Dialing it down to 74%. I was trying to aim for 75, but that'll do. 75, there we go. Got it. And let's try 50%. 51.49. You won't hear the difference anyway. There we go, 50. I managed to do it. Lovely. And all the way down for comparison. And if I turn my mic down, I can hit it a bit hard and get some kind of bite out of it. Check this out. With chorus and some bite, that's 75%. I didn't even aim for that. I just turned it until I just stopped and it landed right on 75%. Couldn't have asked for more than that. we have quite a minimal stereo field, so let's try 75% with the chorus at 100%, stereo 75%, sorry, chorus at 100%, get a bit of spread on that going. All right, it's time for some Atmos. 48% Atmos. And that's page 1 of Electric Keys. I'm just resetting the instrument to its defaults. And without changing any of the parameters on page 1, we're moving straight to page 2, reverb. So by the default, the amount of the reverb, which is the first knob, is 63%. You can hear that. I'll take it all the way down. If you're still hearing a background noise, that's because the Atmos layer's up. So what I will actually do, just to be fair, is turn the Atmos all the way down to nothing. So now you can hear it dry. And we'll go back to page 2, and I'll play with the mic down. Reverb all the way down, and for comparison, let's go all the way to 100. Low end is really, really big with the reverb, isn't it? It's very tasteful. Tasteful. Then we have type of reverb, hall or room. And we'll take the amount down to a reasonable amount, shall we? Because right now it's a little bit silly, of course. There's 50%. By the way, if you hear I have a loud A flat, this keyboard needs replacing, or it needs Kontakt cleaner. I've tried both. So far, no good. Well, I mean, I've tried one of those things, not replacing. I'm waiting to replace the keyboard. I know what I meant. Did you know what I meant? So my A flat there is particularly obnoxious, but every other A flat's fine. See? It's very silly. Right, so size is next. It's currently 21%. So let's turn the amount up a lot so we can really judge this. So what I did there is what I like to do with every library, at least try, is see if you hold a chord and then turn and play with the size control, whether it shrinks and expands like some kind of really crazy tape machine. And it did. And it's very silly, but very satisfactory. I'm still a child at heart, you know. It's okay. Now, This is, of course, a little bit much, but if you take it down to about 66 at the minute, 64. And then if we go back on page 1 and turn up Atmos, yeah? And you can do long. Oh man, this sound. See, just with 2 pages of parameters, it's taken me this long to cover all of that. Because despite only having however many, 12, 13 knobs of parameters, you can do a lot with those 12, 13 knobs. It's very, very impressive. I'm not going to lie. Right, let's turn the Atmos back down to nothing again. And I'm going to dial the size down while I hold the chord again, because it's fun. You see how satisfying that is? Let's do that again. That's up. Let's go down. Yeah. That's the smallest size you can have. And that's room. Now we're back to hall. I quite like that hall, you know. Let's see. That's room. Hall. Yeah, it's quite tight. And the size is currently 0%. 25% now. Oh, it won't let me do 25. Can I do 25? I'm there. And the hall. And room. Hall. Yeah. Now, I think I have a lot of problem with these plugins is if you have a reverb that's quite peaky, sometimes that gets really exaggerated when you hit the sound wrong. But this doesn't do that. I haven't found a frequency that makes the reverb bug out. And you know, like you can go into your bathroom, right? There will be a pitch. I guarantee you walk into your bathroom, maybe you've never done this, walk into one of the corners or sit down and you'll find one note that just resonates. So you hum it, you go up the scale, you'll find the note and it hums. It makes the room ring like a wine glass and it's very strange. And a lot of plugins get this wrong. But these reverbs have been recorded very nicely and they don't do that. All right, so after size, we get damping, which is kind of supposed to take off some of the top end. Let's say if I set the size to maximum, or nearly at least, and see if that is more noticeable. And I'll take the damping all the way down. Yeah, see, it rings more, you can tell that. Damping all the way up again. Less top end. Okay. And then mod, which is supposed to give it some kind of movement, like a sort of whirly, swirly chorus. And it does. You can sort of feel it. Oh, damping all the way down. It's quite a fat reverb, isn't it? And if I add in the chorus from page 1, I just switched from amp to DI. It's from DI to amp, I beg your pardon. And we need some Atmos. There's some Atmos. And I'll take the sample start down as well, all the way so it's lowest. See if we can get some extra noise out of it. So there we are. Those are all the parameters of this plugin. And I was right. There are 13 knobs, I think. It's 8 on page 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on page 2. Yeah, 9 to 11 to 13. So 13 parameters. You can do a lot with those 13 parameters. I'm resetting this back to its defaults now. And so I would encourage you to go check this plugin out. I think it's really nice. I hope you enjoy it. I've enjoyed bringing it to you today, September 26, 2023. I will play you out with the groove I played you in with. I hope you enjoyed listening, and thank you for sticking around to the end if you did so. Fracture Sound's website has more details. And so does the video description. I should always say that, shouldn't I? Video description. Go there. The video description will link to the product directly because that's how we roll. Bye.